So, Emmie,
Yes.
what are you going to tell us?
So, it's a story that comes from a collection of miracle stories written in around 1220 by a German monk.
So this is a medieval story.
This is a medieval story. It fits the criteria.
This is a medieval podcast.
And it comes from this book that has about 750 miracle stories in it, and this is by far the craziest.
Okay, this is your favourite then?
This is absolutely hands down my favourite.
And just for our audience, how did you come across this story?
So it's from one of the texts that I researched for my PhD.
Okay.
And it's, hands down my favourite of any I have so far read.
Alright, well, better tell us the story then.
So, it starts with a good bishop, okay?
This is good. We can invest in this character.
Yeah. It tells you, he likes to give alms to people who have nothing. He's a good guy.
Alms?
Alms with an L, the charitable giving kind of alms.
I see. And what would he give as alms?
I think probably like money, coin, usually anyway.
Okay.
And this is where the story takes a turn.
All right.
Because he's on his way into town,
Mm-hmm.
he's on his horse, and he sees a leper by the side of the road. So he does what he usually does, which is to dismount.
That's very nice of him.
Yeah.
Good social graces.
Yeah. So he gets off his horse, he goes over to the leper, and he says, "Have some money."
This is a good thing for a bishop to do. And the
Yeah.
leper says, yes, thank you, and everything's fine.
You would assume so. I think this is what usually happens. This is what the bishop is expecting to happen. But instead, the leper says, no.
Oh,
Don't want your money.
okay. What does he want?
He wants the bishop to remove this sort of leprous growth that is hanging off his face.
Okay. Is there a description of this leprous growth?
Only in the sense that it is described as being a chunk of dead flesh hanging from his face.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's the bishop's response?
So the bishop says, fine, whatever makes you happy, whatever will help you the
He
most.
pulls out his first aid kit,
Yeah.
Gets out some scalpel or
Well, no,
bandages.
He just reaches out his hand and sort of tries to brush it off.
Right.
And the leper says, no, that's too painful.
Fair enough.
I need you to use something softer. And so the bishop, he's a well-dressed guy, he's a rich guy, he's got a nice shirt on made from fine cloth, so he tries with that instead. And again, the leper says, no, even that is too painful.
I feel sorry for the leper.
I mean, he's got this horrible disease, he's clearly in a lot of pain. So he says, the only thing that will be soft enough is if you lick the growth from my face.
And I was not expecting that turn.
I don't think the bishop was either.
No, does he do it?
Well, I mean, he stops for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think, as we all would, he hesitates. He doesn't really want to do it. It's a bit gross. But, he's a godly man, and he's a charitable man, he's a kind man, and he is sort of, he's fortified by the grace of God, by the Holy Spirit, and so he leans across and he licks this growth off the leper's face.
Wow. I'm just imagining where the story will go next.
Well, I think it goes in a direction that no one is expecting, because as he does this, a jewel, I think it's a ruby, falls from the leper's nose into the bishop's open mouth.
That's a bit gross.
It is. And then, as he sort of stands there in astonishment, the leper turns into Jesus and ascends up into the clouds.
What an ending.
Yeah, so it ends with the bishop standing by the side of the road with the jewel in his mouth.
Speechless,
literally. Just sort of, watching this leper rise.
Float up into heaven.
Yeah.
With the growth gone, I'm guessing.
Yeah, he's successful in his
because he's
charitable
turned
mission.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, have you read any other stories like that?
So there is sort of an upsurge in this period in stories about charitable giving, and more and more hospitals are founded and leper houses, and a lot of the saints' lives from this period feature saints, giving charitably or working with lepers, and it becomes a way to ensure your own salvation. If you're giving money to the poor, or you're doing things that are actually quite gross and detrimental to your own health, then that's all good for your soul.
I mean, is it a case of lick a leper, get a jewel? There's something in it for the person doing the good act?
Yeah, I think, the jewel is like a stand-in for the spiritual rewards that you would get from charitable acts.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a lot about using the poor in a way to save yourself.
That's a bit uncomfortable there.
Although there are also lots of moments in it where it's, you know, focuses on the bishop's feelings. So, you know, his pity, his compassion, his mercy, all these kind of words are used. So I don't think it is supposed to be a message of use the poor for your own ends. It's definitely a message of feel compassion for those in need. And if you do that, then there is also a spiritual reward in it for you.
Yeah, so it's definitely a moral story.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Slightly gross, though.
Yeah. But I think that's part of it, you know, it kind of lingers in the mind, maybe, as a moral message.
That's actually,
so shocking.
yeah, a good point. Remembering gross stories.
Yeah.
I'll certainly remember this story.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully, as you remember the gross story, you also remember to be more like the bishop.
Okay.
Lick a leper.
Lick a leper. Get a ruby.
Go to heaven.
Be a good person.
Yeah. That's what we learned today.
Thank you, Emmie. I'm Becca Drake.
I'm Emmie Price-Goodfellow.
This is Welcome to the Attic, the medieval podcast where we tell you medieval stories.
See you next week.
Bye.